So we are going live now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. We welcome you all to Ortho TV online webinar series on Financial Friday. Today we have with us Professor Dr. Harpal Singh Seli. He likes to call himself a ortho-vester. He is Professor of Orthopedics and Head of Unit at DMCH Ludhiana. He is a very dear friend and an excellent host, the best I have ever seen. He hosted us during 2017 NZOA Con, and it was one of the best ever conference experiences which I have ever had. So over to Dr. Harpal Singh Seli.
Thanks, Neeraj, for your kind words. I'm an orthopedic surgeon with special interest in trauma in the lower limb. I do a lot of acetabulum, pelvis, and reconstructive trauma procedures. I call myself 4D in orthopedics: defect, discrepancy, disease, and deformity. So today is a day for finance. So I always say that orthopedics is my profession, finance is my passion. Right from the time I was in school, I think the first share that I bought, I was in grade 9, if I'm not wrong. That was in school because one of my brother-in-law, I'm the youngest in the family, so everybody was lot elder to me than I was. So my brother-in-law used to be very active at that time, and that's the time I started understanding from him how did the stock market function and what is stock market. And I started going to the stock exchange in those days along with him during my holidays. And it used to be very overwhelming to see the stock exchange going on. As you would have seen in the movies in olden times, it was all by verbal thing. So, and as the luck would have it, at TraumaCon in Mumbai, Neeraj was the one who introduced me to a group which is by the doctors, for the doctors, called WealthCon, which totally deals with only with finance. A very strictly disciplined group. And that was the time that my finance actually started getting refined, I can say, or took the shape that I am today. And then I learned what is investing in the finest form and trading in its the most with the most finesse, you can say, or technical analysis. And then I learned what is called trade vesting. So from that time onwards, I started calling myself as ortho-vester, or ortho-vesting is my profession. So majority of the times I'm an orthopedic surgeon, but then a lot of time I spent in finance and investing. So today the topic given to me is fundamental analysis. I had a discussion with Neeraj, and it was decided that I speak on fundamental analysis. Fundamental analysis is more like, you can say, a discussion with Neeraj, and it was decided that I speak on fundamental analysis. Fundamental analysis is more like, you can say,
Dr. Harpal, you have to switch off that YouTube video in the background.
As a orthopedic surgeon and as a doctor broadly, we are too busy with our own practices. We are not finance guys who are going to spend 4 hours, 6 hours, or 8 hours, or 10 hours every day on the finance. It is just that at the end of the day, we are pretty tired. And on weekends, if we are free, or whatever little passion you have, you will do some analysis of some stocks, maybe one stock a day, or sometimes not even a one stock a day. So I would say you should restrict as a doctor, as an orthopedic surgeon, to Nifty 50. If you're too keen, it can include Nifty Next 50. So these are 100 stocks. That gives you a basket of 100 stocks. So that is what we should focus on as a doctor, as an orthopedic surgeon. And it's a long journey. I recently turned 50 and I've been into stocks for more than 30 years now actively, and 35 years probably from the time I first put my money into the stock market. So that's my journey. And I would say focus on the top 100. So it will take you about roughly 3 months if you're not too keen, or maybe 1 month. If you're too keen to do 3 stocks every day, you'll be able to analyze all the stocks. The reason is we want to find the best of the best where we should put our money, because finally, what we want from the stock market is returns. We want our money to get compounded. We want our money to grow, and we want to have best of the returns. Qualitative means you want to analyze the management. Who is at the helm of the affairs? Who is the CEO of the company? Who is the promoter of the company? What is their background? What is their family like? What are their work ethics? This is very important. Then what is the strategy, business strategy that they are employing? How much are they dependent on the government or the economic policies of the government for their business? Are they a front for one of the political parties? In that case, I'll not like to bet my money on, because once there's a change in government, this company will be in problem. So that's one part. And this is the most difficult part to do. So we go by the reputed names out of these 100 companies, where we know that their work ethic is good and their management strategies have proven over a period of time. What I'm going to talk about today is quantitative analysis in the fundamentals. We are not going to go into the charts. We are not going into any price variations. We are going to talk of parameters which will quantitatively tell us whether the business that this company is doing is making enough money for them. Will it give enough profit that the promoter shares with us as retail investors or as non-dominant players in the market? So what we are looking at in quantitative analysis is numbers. We want to look at the balance sheet. We want to look at the profit and loss statement of the company. And we want to look at the cash flows of the company. So let's talk of first, before we start, the cash flow. When we talk of numbers, cash is the king. We all realize it now in COVID times. The one who has the cash is the king. So what is actually, how does the company generate cash? The company needs capital to run a business, to establish a business and then to run a business. Capital comes at a cost. And we know that cost roughly because we know what are the interests that the banks or financial institutions or other people who will like to put money into the business will charge from the company. Now, company is paying a X percentage as charge for the, or interest for the loans or for the capital that they have got, right? Now, that same capital has to be employed by the company to make goods, market them, and sell them so that they get that money back. So what we are interested is, what is their net profit? How much net profit do they earn over that amount that they have employed, the capital employed? The difference between the two will be cash generation, net cash flow generation. I hope I made myself clear. Capital employed is the money with which you run the business after establishing it, includes the establishment capital also. And when the product that this company makes, the cost of that, the marketing, and finally the sale, and then the money received back. This will establish what the company is getting back from the market, or what you can say is the top line or the sales of the company. The difference between the two will be cash flow. And when we talk of profits, I'll go into the details of this. When we say profit minus the capital employed is your free cash flow. And that is the king. Any company who is in profit, who is actually doing a good business, should have a free cash flow. If they do not have a free cash flow, the only reason can be that the capital they are employing is more costlier than what revenue they are generating or the profit they are making. It's common to listen to this. Stock market is very risky. You need a lot of finance knowledge to get into stock market. Well, there's I haven't heard of bigger myths than these two things. Stock market is risky, but is not betting. There's a science to it and you got to understand it. Those who do not understand it pay the price to the market and they call it as risky or betting or just, satta bolte hain isko. So finance knowledge, like I'll take example of Neeraj. Neeraj runs his own hospital, right? So is he a finance guy along with a doctor? Or who's a finance guy in the hospital? A single family run hospitals like husband and wife, a couple run hospital, or a single surgeon run hospital, single physician run hospital. You know, generally people will say, I have an accountant. Is accountant the finance guy? Again, that's a myth. The answer is no. He's just a clerk who just tabulates all that you tell him. Who is the actually finance guy? It is the owner of the hospital, the doctor couple or doctor who is running that hospital. He's the one who realizes I've done 10 surgeries and I made just 10 lakhs. Last month, I had done 8 surgeries and I made 10 lakhs. So where did the extra money go? He knows that last year my generation was this much. This year it is less. Or last year I did 10 THRs. This month it is only 6. Why there's a shortfall of cases? Why the electricity bill is more this month? Earlier we have never had that kind of a bill. So it is all concerning finance. The best finance guys are the ones who run the business themselves. These are doctors and entrepreneurs along with. It's a different that they do not have knowledge of finance. That is why they do not make as much money as they should be. But they still make good money, more than people employed like me. That is because they have knowledge of finance. They actually realize कि यहाँ से चीज सस्ती मिल रही है. They will check it up. कि मेरी एक्सरे फिल्म कितने की आ रही है, दूसरे को कितने की मिल रही है. When they have to install an X-ray machine, they'll talk to 10 people. That's all concerning finance because you're controlling the cost. You're trying to control the cost of your business. So when we talk of fundamental analysis, you always start from the top. You should do the economy analysis first. What is the economic condition of your country? What is the economic condition globally? Then if you want to invest in one company, you should know which sector does it belong to. So like if you want to invest in Bharti Airtel, you should know that it is in the telecom sector. Then you should do a sectoral analysis of the telecom companies and of the sector. After you have done the analysis for the sector, you should come down to the analysis of the company. Because just looking at the company will not give you a true picture. So you start with the GDP, you do the economic cycle, you must know the interest rates because the companies need capital to run and that capital will come at a cost and that is decided by the interest rates. And what we say is a risk-free interest rate is the T-bill interest rate, which is available on Reserve Bank of India website. So whether it is 6%, 5%, 4%, or 7% depends on the economic cycle. The government varies. That's the amount of interest that the government is ready to pay. And that is a sovereign bond, which carries no risk because the government of India cannot default. Right? And last, but the most important that affects our life every day is inflation. That is the buying capacity of our currency. So when we talk of fundamental analysis of the company, what are we trying to look at? there are hundreds of parameters which you can assess or look at or evaluate in a company. But in my experience, after reading so many books and analyzing stocks, I think if you're able to do all 10 of these, or few, I'll give you at the end the gist, which are the most important. If you're able to do that, it's very unlikely, 90% of the times, you would not falter to put your money into that company. If that comes into the picture, it satisfies all these things, like market capitalization, earning per share, quarterly and annual, price earning ratio or PE ratio. This most of you would have heard about it. Price to book ratio, management holding or promoter holding, debt equity ratio or DE ratio, return on equity, return on capital employed. This is what I was talking about. When we talk of there's a cost to the capital employed, and then you have to see the return. If bank is charging you 12% and your return on that equity is 10%, 2%, you're losing every year. So there's no point in doing business. It is better to close down the business and go home, repay your loans and sit at home. Price to sale ratio and operating profit margins. I'm not saying that we need to do all of these in every stock, but if you can run this on every stock that you put your money in, it is your hard-earned money. 99% guaranteed you will not lose your money. So let's talk of market capitalization first. It is number of equity shares that are available in the market into the current market price. Current market price is what is listed on the stock exchange as of now. It can be last traded price, it can be current market price, or it can be closing price. So companies are divided into large cap if their market cap is more than 10,000 crore. They are medium cap if it is between 2,000 and 10,000 crore. And they are small cap if they are less than 2,000 crore. Anything less than 500 crore is a penny stock. And I would advise as doctors, we should stay away from them because it's just 500 crore total market cap. Very easy to manipulate by the brokers. So market cap will decide the company size. And we want to go into large cap companies. As you gain experience, you can venture into medium cap, but I would advise to stay away as a beginner. So when we talk of market capitalization, when we look at Indian markets, the leaders are Reliance, Tata Consultancy Services, Hindustan Unilever, HDFC Bank, HDFC, and ITC. These are the biggest companies in India, top companies. Now, if we go to international market or to US market, Apple, Amazon, Alphabet, Microsoft, Facebook, and Berkshire Hathaway, everybody's heard the name of Warren Buffett, right? So what's the point in knowing the market capitalization? Because these companies will come into the indexes. We have heard of Nifty or Sensex. Nifty is top 50 companies of India by market capitalization. When we talk of NASDAQ or we talk of Dow Jones, it will contain top 30 companies. Dow Jones is top 30 companies of US. Let's look at the market cap. It's in billions of dollars. We are nowhere near them. Fully accepted, but we are growing. The importance here, what I want to tell you is, you all have heard of Kodak and Nokia. We started with photography with Kodak. Everybody used to use a Kodak film. Phones were Nokia and synonymous. Cell phone and Nokia were synonymous. We don't find them in the top 6. What happened? That's the importance of going into the index. The leaders will change, but index will stay. So as doctors, if you cannot do the analysis, what we are going to talk, pause, quit. You are fit to invest directly into index. It could be Nifty 50 or it could be Nifty next 50. Don't look at the stocks. Don't put money into stocks if you can't evaluate it. Never put your money on hearsay. Will you do a THR or a knee replacement just because somebody else said, oh, Neeraj, this patient needs a THR. Patient is under anesthesia. Just go and do it. You haven't seen the patient. You haven't looked at the X-ray. You don't know for what condition you're going to do a total hip replacement. Will you be ready to do it? Similarly, if you haven't evaluated the company, please don't put your money in hard-earned money into companies that will be just like satta khelna or betting. So better to put your money into index straight away and relax. But if you want to go forward, join me and I'll take you through the journey. So next is earning per share. We look at first quarterly because in India by law, every company has to declare their quarterly results. It's mandatory for all companies, listed companies. So whatever profit they make in that quarter, we call it as net quarterly profit after tax. Tax and death are inevitable. Anybody who earns will have to pay the tax, right? Divide by number of equity shares of that company. So that will give you the earning per share. The total earning divided by the number of equity shares of that company will give you earning per share. So because if I own 100 shares, I must know what is earning per share so that I know what I'm earning with my 100 rupees, 100 shares, right? Now, why we want to do every quarter? Because there are seasonal variations. Let's talk of paint company. Majority of the people will get their house painted after the monsoons and before the festival season, before Diwali season comes in or Durga Puja comes in. We make major purchases before the festivals. People will like to have new clothes before the Durga Puja, right? So summers are the time when coolers will sell like hotcakes or air conditioners will sell. So we want to compare the earnings. We don't want to compare apples to oranges, right? We do not say that a student scored more marks than what was scored last year or 5 years back. We say he's first in the class. So it's comparison with his peers, right? Or we can say, okay, he improved from his last performance. In last test, he had 90 marks. This time he has 92 marks. So there's an improvement of 2 marks. So we compare the results of previous quarter with this quarter. Or if we see there is a big difference, we will also compare. I'm not saying we only compare with this last quarter and not with anything else. It is important to compare with the last quarter to see what have they improved in next 3 months. We also compare with the same quarter of the last year. So nowadays we are getting results of January to March quarter. So we will compare the results with January to March quarter of 2019 also and see is there any improvement in the results, and we compare the earnings. This is a very important factor. The earning per share quarterly growth should be around 20 to 25%. Growth, I'm saying. Every year, the EPS should grow by 20%. Every quarter. But finally, it is annual earning per share. So net profit annually in the whole financial year after tax divided by number of equity shares is your EPS annual. And annually, I am looking at 15% growth of EPS over 3 to 5 years minimum. By my choice, I'll say 5 years. So do we actually need annual EPS if we are looking at quarterly? Yes. Annually is sum of all seasons and we compare with the last full year. So it will reflect you the sales. Sales is also called top line. You must have heard on the TV a lot of time mentioned top line, bottom line. They have improved this top line, but no bottom line has improved or both have improved. So sales is the total revenue that the company generates, and that comes from sales. That is called top line. When we say bottom line is कि finally ले दे के बचता क्या है end में, क्या कमाया. So for that, profit. For that, it is the profit after tax. PAT. PAT is the bottom line. So finally, the most famous parameter, that is PE ratio. A lot of people say कि PE ratio बहुत ज़्यादा है, बहुत overvalued है. So let's see what this involves and what this entails for us as investors. It is the price per share, which can be current market price or last traded price or the closing price, divided by earning per share. We just did the earning per share. So now we are getting PE ratio, which is price per share divided by earning per share. And EPS is profit divided by number of shares. Price is what we pay. It's just like a commercial property is available. The price may be X. But if the same commercial property is next door, adjoining wall to a doctor who has a running hospital there, the price might go 1.25x. Other people might feel the doctor has bought it very expensive, but from the doctor's point of view, it's something that he really needed because he wants to expand, and there's no better way than to buy the adjoining property. So similarly, if you want to own a business, we are not putting our money into the business. Don't say that I'm buying a share of a company. You are buying a part ownership into the company. It could be 1 by millionth of the ownership, but you are actually owning that company after you buy the shares. So if you go by this method that I'm trying to own this company, you would not falter. It is less likely that you will falter, right? EPS is a fact. Earning per share is a fact. It's factual. You can't just make it up unless you cook the books. Price is a reaction by the market. Price can vary every day. EPS is per quarter. It cannot change overnight, right? So remember this. Further, let me clarify one thing. Price is what we pay looking at the future earnings of the company. अगर आज वो 10 रुपए कमा रहे, हम उसके लिए 100 देते हैं कि अगले महीने ये 20 कमाएगी अगले साल. The price is because of that. If it remains 10 rupees earning next year also, the price will fall down, right? So if we look at Nifty for last 3 quarters, I'm saying last 3 quarters because all the results are not out and we cannot say the Nifty EPS till all Nifty 50 companies results are out. This year, these have been delayed because of COVID. Otherwise, they have to be declared within, I think, 40 or 42 or 45 day period ending 31st March. 31st March के बाद 45 दिन में सब कंपनीज को अपने रिजल्ट सबमिट करने पड़ते हैं unless they have a special reason and they can seek permission from SEBI. So the PE ratio when Nifty was at 9,000 was coming to about 20.27. So let's go forward now. So this is a chart, historical chart, and it has been shown that when Nifty PE is above 27, you invest your money into it. For 3 years, your returns will be negative. For 5 years, it is 1.5%. After 7 years, it will be 8.5%. But after 10 years, it will again come down to 8.1%. So now why this is important, we'll go see later on. When it is between 24 and 27, it is still minus 4.2. But at the end of 10 years, you still make 9.6%, which is not bad. If Nifty PE is between 21 and 24, the 10-year returns are 11.1%. We are now following between 18 and 21. So after 10 years, your Nifty will give you a CAGR of 11.7%. What does this mean? Let's go forward and see this. To make things better, because compounding is the 6th wonder of the world and human mind is not trained to understand compounding. हमें 10 जमा 10 20 समझ आता है, 10 raised to power 10 नहीं समझ आता human mind को. So if I invest 10 lakhs in Nifty, simple. When PE ratio is more than 27 at 8.1%, after 10 years, my money will become 2 crore 17 lakhs. One-time investment of 10 lakhs kept in Nifty for 10 years. If Nifty was 24, PE was 24 to 27, my 10 lakhs for 10 years, expected return is 9.6%, will be 2 crore 50 lakhs. If PE was 21 to 24 at 11.1%, my return, what I will get is 2 crores 86 lakhs. But if it is between 18 and 21, my return comes out to be 3 crore 2 lakhs, almost a difference of 1 crore in just 10 years for 10 lakhs. 10 लाख का 10 साल में 1 करोड़ का फर्क पड़ गया. And just imagine when you are putting all your earnings into Nifty, what will be the difference? लेकिन अगर मैं 15 और 18% पी 15 या 18 के बीच में हो, 14% रिटर्न मिलेगी. दिस बिकम्स 3 करोड़ 87 lakhs, मोर देन 1.6 करोड़ का डिफरेंस हो गया. वी डोंट मेक दैट मच इन अ ईयर, जितना डिफरेंस आ गया. Now, when we say Nifty is above 22, it is extremely overbought. So one should avoid. These are old figures. Nowadays, I would label this as 26 or 25. When it is 22, it is overbought. When the Nifty PE is 14, it is oversold. When Nifty PE is below 14, it is extremely oversold. This is the time to buy, 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 buy. Let's see forward. For investment, you need 4 C's. 4 D's, 4 C's. Cash. If you don't have cash, what do you want to invest? Courage. Because a lot of people will tell you that it is, ye sab jua hai, ye satta hai. Have courage and conviction. You need a lot of common sense. Lot more than what is actually told. You need a lot of common sense. And you need commitment. I cannot impress more. Nowhere else in this life, discipline is more important than in finance. You break your discipline, the market will hit you so hard, you won't know what happened. I know so many doctors, orthopedic surgeons who have lost 10, 15 lakhs in 1 month because of lack of discipline. So let's see here. Whenever it is more than 25, it is very expensive. Try to get out of the market. If you're an experienced active investor, if you're passive, just stay put. Don't buy more. If it's 20 to 25, it's still expensive. Book 80% profit, but if you can't, just stay put. Don't put more money into it. If it's 15 to 20, just hold or buy a little bit. If it's inexpensive, 12 to 15 PE, it's a screaming buy. Try to put all the money that you have into the market at that time. If Nifty PE is less than 12, this is a rare event. Beg, borrow, steal, and put the money into the market. That's the dictum. Now, a lot of people will say कि हम तो SIP करते हैं. We are passive investors and we SIP. So how does this affect us? Nifty PE is available on the website. You continue with your SIP, but the time you find Nifty PE going to 12 or 15, double your SIP. The time you find Nifty PE less than 12, put a bolus amount into your investment. Withdraw the money from your FDs, put it into the market. That is the time. So that should be your strategy if you are a SIP investor. So this is the recent price earning ratios. We were at about 19.53 in April. I am yet to check for the May because I'm waiting for the results. So PE ratio, if you look at the historical chart, This is how the Nifty and the Nifty PE goes. This is the Nifty index. This is the Nifty 50 PE ratio. So they go hand in hand, hand in hand. So if you are within one standard deviation, that is the time you should buy. Whenever the market goes above this this standard deviation, stop putting more money into it. Whenever it touches the second deviation, that's the time to exit the market. So ये market ने time हमें दिया था 2019 में कि exit कर जाओ, लेकिन हम लोग नहीं किए. And now those who did not will repent. Look at how expensive the market became here. This needs conviction. This needs commitment. This needs discipline. I'm not saying you check all this every day. This is what you need to check every month or every quarter. And once you know the direction that this is going up, you need to check every week and then exit at the right time. When the Nifty PE falls, that's the time to buy. So what do we infer from the Nifty, from the PE ratio? If the same stock is available at a lower PE, it is a good time to buy, and it's a good stock. Low PE stocks are not always good, and high PE stocks are not always expensive because EPS earning is a fact. Price is what the market wants to pay for that earning. So what we want to see is that there's a rise in price. There's a rise in EPS as well. If only the price is rising and EPS is not rising, is not a good sign. If EPS is rising, but the price is not rising, that's the time we need to look into the stock, what's gone wrong. And if people have not found this stock where the EPS is high, but the price is not increasing, that's the time to enter into the stock and wait for other people to realize that this is a gold that they are missing. So let's talk of price to book value. It's the price per share divided by book value per share. Now, what is book value? अगर बहुत simple terms में we discuss कि book value क्या है, if the whole company is liquidated, right? और जो पैसा end में बचेगा सारे ड्यूज सेटल करने के बाद, that is called book value. So lesser the price over book value ratio, better it is. That means price कम है और book value ज़्यादा है. So less than 2 is desirable, right? The reason is if the company goes defunct, the shareholder is the last person to get the money. First of all, banks will come and take their money in the form of loans which they had advanced. Vendors who had provided the raw materials get the next thing. Tax payable to the government is always to be paid. That can never be taken over by anybody else. Preferential shareholders will get the money after that. And whatever is left will come to the retail public shareholder or the common shareholder. The manufacturing companies have a high book value because they have assets, they have machines, whereas companies like Infosys, they have intellectual property right, they have a brand name, they may not have a very high book value. So this is something to be understood. Promoter holding is very important because that shows how much commitment the promoter has towards his business and how serious is he about the business and how much is his belief in his own business. At least more than 50% should be promoter holding. Higher the better. It is all about stake. If he has his own stake, he has his own money, own skin in the system, he will automatically work hard to save his skin. If they pledge their own shares for getting loans, that's a bad sign. And we must always look at our holdings, whether the promoter is selling his stake or he's pledging his stake. Buyback is a good sign because that shows that the promoter believes in his own business and wants to increase his stake, right? So just remember, more than 50% promoter holding is a good sign. Debt to equity ratio is very important. 3 factors which can destroy a person or an organization. Apologies if somebody's offended with this, is liquor. This is from the history. A lady and leverage. When we talk of finance, we will talk of leverage. The first 2 L's are not part of this deal. We are not concerned about the liquor or the lady. We'll talk of leverage. So you can imagine now, due to lockdown because of COVID, let's take example of a restaurant here. He's paying a rent of, just by rough estimates, 1.5 lakhs a month. He's put few crores into making his restaurant. He's employing people. And if he has a loan of, say, 1 CR, the business is totally closed. He has no revenue generation. Plus the interest is piling up. He has salaries to pay. If he doesn't pay, his good people will leave him. So leverage will be exponential. If 3 months lockdown, the interest will keep on, there'll be interest over the interest. So पहले महीना 1 लाख लगा, अगले महीने 1 करोड़ 1 लाख पे इंटरेस्ट लगेगा, उसके अगले महीने 1 करोड़ 2 लाख पे इंटरेस्ट लगेगा, एंड नेक्स्ट मंथ 1 करोड़ 3 लाख पे अगला इंटरेस्ट लगेगा. And can you imagine if you take a loan of 50 lakhs for 10 years as a housing loan and you accepted the moratorium for 3 months, you'll almost be paying 6 to 10 extra installments for this moratorium at the end of 10 years. Because this interest that has been accumulating for 3 months will generate interest over interest so much that you'll end up paying 6 to 10 installments extra at the end of the tenure. So how much debt over equity ratio is acceptable? Normal conditions, we say less than 1. Good companies will have it less than 1. 0.1, less than 0.1 is acceptable, but in present times and in coming times, because of recession, because of these problems and global effect, I would say only put your money into debt-free companies. Take out your money if you are into a highly leveraged company. Look at Reliance. We refer to him as Mota Bhai or Mukesh Ambani. I'm talking about. He's working so hard he's selling the stake in Jio, which is the cash cow of the Reliance Group, to decrease his debt. And he wants his company to be debt-free by 2021. And he's working very hard on it. So next comes return on equity. Return on equity means company will have capital either from the equity holders. Equity holder means partners. We are actually partners in the company. So if the market cap is 10,000 crore, the part is that it is the shareholders' money, right? Kitne shareholder hain, number of shareholders, and what was the amount for which each share was sold. Say a company launched with 1 billion shares at 10 rupees each. So the equity capital was 10 billion, just for one example. So जो भी net income company कमाती है divided by the shareholder equity value is return on equity. So it's just this is not my original, I picked it up from the internet. So does your business make real money? Says yes, we do make money in our books. So actually बनता है कि नहीं बनता, books में हम पैसा बनाते हैं. The other way around is also true. कि पैसा बनता है, पैसा तो बहुत बनता है, लेकिन किताब में नहीं बनता है. So they are showing loss. घपलेबाजी चल रहा है. I'll give you a very astounding figure which I came to know today. 70% of the companies in India, their account books are suspect. If we submit them to forensic auditing, they do not stand the test. सब में गड़बड़ है. ले दे के सिर्फ 70 कंपनीज रह जाती हैं इंडिया में, and this is on record, where the forensic auditing will not find any fault in the books. Second, this is again from one of the guys called Saurabh Mukherjee. A lot of people will put, promoters in India are fond of, once they start running one business, they'll run to a business which is not at all linked with the first one. What made Dhirubhai Ambani a great man? I'm biased towards Reliance, guys. Don't take it at face value. My disclosure, Reliance was the first company that I put my money into. Reliance G debentures came, G series debentures. That was the first first share which I bought and I've held on to till today. And that has multiplied my investment. I don't know how many times. I've never checked it because that's one company which I will never sell. I have got other companies along with it, L&T, Ultratech, and I'm still holding on to all of them, and they have been compounders for me. I don't look at them even once a year because I know. So he did backward integration of his business, if you understand. पॉलिएस्टर बनाता था, पेट्रोलियम में चले गया क्योंकि पेट्रोलियम से पॉलिएस्टर का रॉ मटेरियल निकलता था. शुरू हुई थी एज अ पॉलिएस्टर कंपनी और अ क्लोथिंग कंपनी, एंड इट बिकेम फेमस एज अ पेट्रोकेमिकल कंपनी, and now it is going to be famous as a telecom company, right? So that is importance of doing business. If you totally venture away from what you are best at, you're likely to create trouble. So Mukesh Ambani was smart enough to understand that he's in a lot of debt because he tried to go into too many things, into retail, into telecom, and petroleum was there. So now he's trying to sell petrochemical business, petroleum business, petrochemical he may still hold. And that's actually, if you go by business standards, that's not a good thing, that you have hands into too many things, because then your energy is divided, your capital is divided, and you may not be able to employ your capital as efficiently as you would do otherwise. So return on equity is net income by shareholder equity. High ROE company with low PE is the best. That's what we all look for, but we don't find it always. High return on equity with high PE is acceptable. Because if everybody knows this company is making a lot of money, everybody wants to buy a bit into that company. So it becomes more expensive. Low return on equity, but high PE is not what we are looking for. If you put money into that, it's a disaster. So less than 10%, I would not look at the company. 11 to 16%, I might look, but what I'm looking at is more than 17%. Now, this is one of another very important parameters that I'm very fond of, and I practice it a lot, is return on capital employed. So what's the difference here? It is not only the equity capital, but also the debt we have taken from the bank. So we had a 20 billion equity, and we take 10 billion of loan from the bank. So we have a total capital of 30 billion now. Now, how efficiently we employ this capital? If bank rate is 10%, we don't assume that our money is free. We say that the total money is costing us 10%. And if we can't make another 10% out of it, it's not worth it. So profit before interest and tax divided by capital employed, which includes both equity and debt, is called return on capital employed, or also called ROC or ROCE. Depends how people like to call it. ROC is also equally good. ROCE is also good. It shows how efficiently the company is using their capital. It is especially important in capital intensive business. And what I'm looking at is ROC more than 20%. These are not something imaginary figures, 20%, 15%. These are by the financial gurus that have been tested over a period of time and have stood the test of time. So price to sale ratio, कि शेयर की तो प्राइस बढ़ती जा रही है, कंपनी की सेल बढ़ नहीं रही है. So in that case, there is some problem that we need to look at it. So less than 2 is good. Price is price per share. Market cap, number of equity shares into CMP, divided by total revenue. the top line, total revenue is top line or the sales. This will give you a price to sales ratio, and less than 2 is good. Means the price should not be more than twice the sales of the company. Operating profit margin is very important. कि नेट सेल्स में से बचता क्या है एंड में. आपने सेल तो 20 करोड़ की करी है, आपने 100 टीएचआर कर दिया, लेकिन बचा आपको 1 लाख, देन इट्स नॉट वर्थ डूइंग इट, राइट? सो scalability should be there. If you're increasing the number, the sales, then your profit should also increase. So the operating profit divided by net sales into 100, it is given as percentage, net profit margin percentage, higher than corporate lending rate. अगर आपको मिलता 10% पे है लोन, आपने वो पैसा बिजनेस में लगाया, and your profit margin out of after employing that money is not 10%, it is not worth doing a business. Higher the OPM is better, and we want to look at OPM growth. We don't want static operating profit margin. में पिछले साल भी 10% था, इस साल भी 10% है. I want पिछले साल 10% था, तो इस साल 10% ग्रोथ होके 11% तो हो. नेक्स्ट ईयर 12.3% तो हो. अगर नहीं होता, then it is not worth putting your money in. So guys, in the end, fundamental analysis, more than 100 parameters. There's a criteria called MPTDS by Dr. Ramnath Gutte. He is a radiologist from Mumbai, founder of WealthCon, one of my mentors and a friend. I very strictly follow his criteria and then put my own criterias onto it. If what we have talked in last 1 hour is not acceptable or not understood, it is better to go for mutual funds or index fund. Why we want to invest in stocks is we want to beat the mutual funds or we want to beat the index. If we cannot beat the index, then it is better to put your money into the index. Mutual funds have their own expense ratio, which nowadays is pretty high. Plus they have churning, which will result in expense ratio and decrease returns. They have their own targets. And as Indians, we know what happens. Index funds will take care of that. The churning is not more. The expense ratio is very less, and marketing pressures are less in index fund because these are passive funds. They just track the index. So these are better than the mutual funds by my personal opinion. I'm not saying what I'm saying is gospel of truth, but in my opinion, this is what I practice. I would put my money into index funds than mutual funds. People have shown over a period of time, 10 years, no active fund is able to beat consistently the index, right? How we can beat the market and why is it possible is because we have done a fundamental analysis. We are not investing in all the stocks. We do not have a very big corpus. We don't need to invest in 50 stocks. We do not have any mandate from the public, which will modify our investment style. We can choose any 10 or 12 companies depending on, I follow a large cap or Nifty 50 or Nifty next 50 companies. I would look at their ROC more than 20% or 25%. I would look at EPS growth of more than 15%. And if these companies satisfy these criteria for last 5 years, I would shortlist those companies, study them in more detail, look at their sales growth, look at their dividend growth. One thing that you must look at is tax. As I said, tax and death are inevitable. If company is paying increasing tax every year, the profits shown are genuine, and that's a company where we should put our bets on. The other thing is you should look at the business. The business should have a moat. Jesse, like, let's talk of Britannia. Everybody used to have Mary biscuits, right? Now, diabetics के लिए digestive biscuit आ गए, fiber, high fiber biscuit आ गए. The price has gone 2 times, 3 times, or 4 times, or 5 times. People still buy Britannia biscuit. Same is true for Parle G. बच्चे को आप ले जाओ, अगर वो बिस्किट खाएगा तो ग्लूकोज बिस्किट ही खाएगा, वो दूसरा बिस्किट नहीं खाएगा. चॉकलेट खाएगा तो कैडबरी का मिल्क या मिल्क सिल्क चॉकलेट ही खाएगा, दूसरा नहीं खाता. जिसको कोल्ड ड्रिंक पीनी है वो कोक ही मांगता है. ये कोक का मोट है. At this cost, no other company can make a bottle of Coke at what Coke markets. राइट? घर जो भी बनाता है उसके जो घर में एडहेसिव लगता है पिडीलाइट का ही आता है, दूसरे का नहीं आता. पेंट्स, majority of the people will get a Asian paint done in the house, knowingly or unknowingly. So these are the companies which have a monopoly. And in India, commonly you have one or two companies maximum into one business who hold the monopoly. You got to work on them. Don't try to put your money in all your eggs into one basket. Choose different sectors. जैसे बैंक एनालाइज करना है, टॉक टू योर 10 फ्रेंड्स के अकाउंट किस बैंक में है, जिसमें आप अपना पैसा रखने को तैयार हो उस बैंक का स्टॉक खरीदो. जिसकी आप सर्विस से खुश हो उस बैंक का स्टॉक लो. जिस चीज का, जौन सी कंपनी का बिस्किट खाते हो उसका स्टॉक लो. जिस कंपनी से घर में पेंट करवाते हो उसका स्टॉक ले लो. दैट्स माय पर्सनल स्टाइल एंड इट्स नॉट दैट आई मेड इट. It's after talking to all the people who are doctors and into big time into investment. So again, look at the balance sheet, look at the profit and loss statement, look at the cash flow statement. Cash flow is the king, right? My acknowledgements to my brother-in-law Mohanbir Singh, who introduced me to stock market at a very young age. Varun, he runs a financial education program. I have attended it and learned a lot. My friends Vijay Arora and Rupan Kaushal, along with whom I did a lot of research into the stocks, and we were able to finally finalize a strategy which gives you good returns. My friends and my mentors who have shaped me into the financial market, Dr. Ramnath Gutte, he's a radiologist in Mumbai, and Dr. Prashant Pachore, he's a technical analysis wizard. He's an anesthetist by profession in Aurangabad. And as a group, I cannot stress more on WealthCon. It's a platform by the doctors for the doctors. You have to join it to believe it. Thank you. I would suggest that you guys do a further reading. The following books, which I'm very passionate and I reread them almost once a year or once every 2 years, is Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I enjoy this book all the time. Coffee Can Investing by Saurabh Mukherjee. Little Book of Common Sense Investing is by John Bogle. He passed away recently. He's the founder of passive investing into index funds. And then Finding the Next Starbucks. You will get a very good knowledge base to enter into stock market if you read these 4 books. These are the knowledge resources that I used to prepare this presentation. Feel free to visit it if you know how to go on to that. This will also give you an insight into what has shaped my thinking for today's presentation. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, sir. That was a really comprehensive coverage for anyone who's getting into stocks or who's already into stocks. So there are 2-3 queries from my side. Sachin, would you like to start?
Yeah, Neeraj, there is some problem with the video of mine.
But I can hear you, so you go ahead.
Yeah, very nice and excellent lecture. At least knowing the basic fundamentals of the stocks, very comprehensive also, and maybe to the point. Sir, as I started investing and maybe in the WealthCon in last 1.5 years only, 1 year to 1.5 years, I see the market up and down as like a little bit active, cool trader, you can say. Shall we, when the Nifty goes more than 100 or something with a PE ratio, shall we remove the book profits or like we should wait?
See,
Like now,
first of all, it's like you got to identify yourself. What's your status as an investor? Are you a passive investor? Are you active investor into the market? Are you somebody who looks at the market every week, every month, or every day? That will decide. If you're a passive investor, somebody who looks at the market once a week or once a month, or at coffee पीते पीते कभी कभार देख लिया, तो then I would say don't get out of the market, but increase your investment when the market goes down.
okay.
It's not, when they say time the market, it's not the time of entry into the market. It is the time spent in the market which will give you better returns. So, लेकिन जब dip आती है तो तब ज़्यादा करिए. If you're an active investor, seasoned investor who is on the market every day, every alternate day, that is the time you should look at the PE ratios regularly. And if PE ratio is going too high, you can exit in a planned fashion. Say you will say, if it goes above this, I'll exit 20%.
Okay.
Goes above 27, I'll exit another 30%. Goes above 29, I'll exit totally.
Okay.
So again, it needs discipline. You can't have emotions into the finance.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's most important.
Yeah.
And sir, like auto sectors, sir, now are they going to perform? Means, as the lockdown or maybe
सचिन थोड़ा जोर से बोल.
is auto sector is going to perform after 1 or 2 months, because as the lockdown is going on, and so just a query from like Maruti or Eicher Motors or something like that.
See, Eicher was supposed to give results today. I haven't had time to look at it, but there are both sides of the coin to it. Some people say that people don't have money to buy autos now, new two-wheelers or four-wheelers, and the sales will go down. The opposite pitch is now, with the enforcement of lockdown and social distancing, nobody will like, who has money, even little bit of money, will not like to travel in a public transport because of fear of catching the disease, COVID. So they would prefer to buy even a second hand or a new lower down model in the two-wheelers or lower down model in the four-wheeler to travel. Even for out of city travel, people in the family would prefer to go in their own car rather than the train, because there'll always be a fear that if even one person is affected by the disease, you might get it, right? So this only time will tell. When there is so much uncertainty, my personal way of doing is I would put SIP into that stock, and then when there's a dip, I'll add more.
Okay, sir. Okay. Yeah, Neeraj, you can go and I'll ask few questions more.
So about the, I wanted to ask two things. One is about the GTT. Have you ever, GTT is recommended for what type of investor? And
GTT is for an advanced investor who knows the levels at what he wants to enter a particular stock. So then he can say it is good to trigger order, right? So if I know that I want to buy, say, let's say Hero Honda or Hero MotoCorp at 2,100 rupees. So I'll put a GTT for 2,100 for the amount of allocation I want to do for Hero MotoCorp. So that share will only be bought when the share is available at 2,100. So it will be an active investor who actually knows how to analyze a company, but also knows how to calculate the real price for that share.
what about a long-term investor who's entering into the market? He doesn't have time to see and the market, and the market is going down. He just puts a GTT for, say, SBI, Reliance, Tata, whatever, TCS, Asian Paints, and बैठ जाएगा चुपचाप हफ्ते भर में. वो कभी ना कभी वो उसका लो प्राइस लगा के GTT ले ले, और फिर then he sits on the share for few years.
That's okay, but then first you have to finalize the list of shares that you want to buy.
Yes.
And then you need to know at what price you will put a GTT. You can't just put abstract figures, you know.
Right.
But
so you need to study.
Fundamental analysis basically is to shortlist your 10, 12, 15 or 20 shares, all majority belonging to different sectors, or at least 2 per sector, not more than 20 shares, and not more than, not all into one sector.
Okay. And the second...
Okay, go ahead, Neil.
Second one was SIP for shares instead of doing SIP for mutual funds. So do you use Zerodha platform?
Yeah, I use Zerodha.
So Zerodha, does it allow SIP for shares?
You have to do it manually, or you can go through an app, which is shared app on their platform. Through that, you can do it.
Okay. So means you share SIP for shares, how it is? Is it the amount you have to decide, or you can decide the number of shares? How does it work?
Actually, there is a app which is called Small Cases.
Okay.
So in that you can make a list of shares that you want to buy, and you can also say that for what amount or what number of shares every month, and that will send a order to the exchange through your Zerodha, and you have to press it on the date that it says.
Okay.
The way I practice it is I don't use small case regularly. So my phone has an alarm that's SIP due. So at this
Okay.
time, say on Thursday or Wednesday, at this time, I would put a aftermarket order. So next morning at the market open, the orders are executed without any motions. Whatever be the opening price, I don't look at it.
Okay. Okay, got it. Thank you. Sachin?
Sir, do you hedge your portfolio or not yet? Like,
That's a very
as you are
complicated matter to be discussed on this platform. But of course,
Okay.
if your portfolio is too big, you need to hedge. So it's like paying an insurance premium for your health. Medical
Okay.
karate ho, term insurance dete ho, same. So if your portfolio is into 6-7 figures, it's easy to say it is a 5% loss, but that 5% loss can run into multiple lakhs. So that's the time you actually have to hedge your portfolio. There's no other choice.
Maybe we'll have to have a full session on hedging your portfolio.
Hedging there's a lot of things to be done
Yes.
before you learn how to hedge.
Right.
A lot of things to be learned.
So as we progress, maybe after 2-3 months, the Financial Friday will consist of hedging a portfolio.
Not so soon. It'll people
Not 2 years.
will have to practice it. Otherwise, it will be all overhead transmission.
Right. That is also there.
So
And
there are a lot of terms. You need to know the beta of your portfolio. Then, according to the beta, you calculate what amount to be hedged and
Okay,
what
so-
instrument will you use for hedging.
Yeah.
All those things they are very advanced level things.
Maybe let's keep it for next time.
nowadays the markets are, sir, sorry, sir, the markets are so choppy now. Are they some, sir, completely related to Dow futures, our market?
Pardon? Can you say that again?
Sir, is our market completely related to global market like Dow futures? Like depending on the Dow futures, it goes up and down, gap up, gap down, something like that. Like
Conventionally, we've been following Dow, but recently we have seen uncoupling from the Dow. But
Okay.
One of my mentors says कि अपनी रात की नींद क्यों खराब करनी है, जो भी होना है सुबह 9:15 पे होना है जब मार्केट खुले. So why look at the market whole night कि SGX Nifty कहाँ पहुंच गया, Dow कहाँ पहुंच गया, अपना आराम से सो. I'm not buying into Dow, so why should I be worried where is Dow? सुबह उठ के देखेंगे कहाँ है, उसके हिसाब से अपने ट्रेड डालो. That is only if you're an active trader. If you're an investor, GTT लग गए तो आराम से बैठो. महीने में एक बार ही सिप लगानी है और एक GTT लगाने हैं. GTT लगे हैं, जब आना होगा आ जाएगा. We should be focusing on our profession rather than this.
Okay. So let me see if there are any questions from the website. Just hold on. Mostly it's ज़्यादा नहीं रहते हैं.
Sir, to look for a PE ratio, like on the net, it is available, like every day, every week, like of a week, like something that we have to just see that. Maybe once a week we can see or something like that. And once you see it is going down, as you told the slides, you can put money if you have.
See the days, if ever you come to know, itni to news channel mein aa jata hai, the day market falls, you can look at the PE ratio of Nifty and decide whether you want to invest into Nifty or not.
No. So be on the safer side, like the once Nifty goes below 9,000 or maybe 8,000, so that's the time more to invest. And once it goes to, like, depending upon the 11,000,
it is very difficult to time the market. So what I say is keep whatever corpus you have. Like I said, cash is the king. Divide it into 4 or 5 parts.
Installment, like
Installment. So जब देखो 9,000 पे गई एक installment लगाओ. So let's say 15% of your investable surplus that you have. 8,500 पे गई तो 30% लगाओ. 8,000 पे गई तो 40% लगाओ. तो जो बाकी 40% रह गया वो उस पे कम पे लगा दो. If market still falls more, then sit comfortably. Because nobody has ever found a bottom. It is not possible to search the bottom.
Okay.
So there is this question: where do you find forensic auditing for good 70 company, as told in the lecture?
So this is a book and there's a talk by Saurabh Mukherjee, who is an expert in forensic auditing. He was actually a forensic auditor who is now come into stock market and runs a PMS.
Okay. So is it available on YouTube?
Forensic auditing is a very difficult task.
Okay.
It's not something for us, or it is
Okay.
not only for every CA also that he's able to do forensic auditing.
Okay.
These are specialized experts who will do it.
Okay. No, just for the introduction, what exactly it is? You said there is a book available, and
He's publishing a book
he's publishing a book.
Yeah, he's in the process. That will be his third book. So there are different ratios. Like I'll give you an example. That's the example he talks about. You look at the fee paid to the auditor and increase in revenue. So अब ऑडिटर की फीस तो डबल हो गई, लेकिन रेवेन्यू उतने का उतना ही है. तो उसने फीस क्यों डबल की? सेकंड, ऑडिटर फर्म इज से वन ऑफ द बिग फाइव्स, केपीएमजी है. तो केपीएमजी ही गिव्स एन एग्जांपल कि एक बंदे की फीस तो वो ले ला 13 करोड़ 13 सीआर, बट वो एलएनटी को ऑडिट करके उससे 4 करोड़ की फीस ले रहा है. दैट्स द एग्जांपल ही गिव्स इन हिज टॉक. एंड एलएनटी इज अ मच बिगर कंपनी, वी नो इट इज वन ऑफ द बिगेस्ट कंपनीज इन इंडिया. तो भाई तेरी छोटी कंपनी का वो तेरे से 13 करोड़ क्यों ले रहा है? बिकॉज यू आर डूइंग सम हैंकी पैंकी, तभी तो उसको इतना पैसा दोगे आप ऑडिटर को, नहीं तो क्यों देगे? So he has a 10-step formula which he has made, a logarithm which he runs over the company. That's his proprietary software. I don't think it's available to others. This.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I hope the delegate who asked that question is little bit is answered. Because anyways, it is too complicated for people like you, people like us to study in so much detail. Okay, so Sachin, if you...
I'll give you an example of common sense forensic auditing. Recently, one of the big business houses went bankrupt. I won't name, everybody knows it. Right? उसका लंदन कोर्ट में भी केस चल रहा है कि वो कह रहा मेरे पास पैसे नहीं है देने को. है ना? एक भाई is a multi-billionaire, the दूसरा भाई is now कंगाल. And recently, an actress expired in Dubai. We all know who she was. And his personal plane went to pick up that body and bring it back to India. भाई तेरी कंपनी bankrupt हो रही है, तू अपना प्लेन किसी को उठाने के लिए भेज रहा है. If your companies are going bankrupt, how do you own a plane? So that shows कि कंपनी जाए पहाड़ में, कंपनी का कुछ नहीं बन रहा, लेकिन my lifestyle is lavish because मैं अपने पैसे ले ही जा रहा हूँ कंपनी से. So that is diversion of funds. So ये सारी चीजें आ जाती हैं कि जो प्रमोटर है वो अपनी सैलरी कितनी डालता है, and over a period of time how much salary has his salary increased. सैलरी तो 4 times हो गई, ESOPs अलग से चले गए, कंपनी का रेवेन्यू इंक्रीज नहीं हो रहा, कंपनी का प्रॉफिट इंक्रीज नहीं हो रहा. So these are all advanced level things. First basic is these 10 points. If you are able to do a fundamental analysis, if company fits into this, but I would say focus on totally nifty 100 companies, debt-free companies, ROC more than 20%, EPS more than 15% growth in both for last 5 years. Put your money into those 10, 12, 15 companies and forget about it.
Okay.
साल की साल उनको रिव्यू करो, जो कंपनी उससे निकल गई उसको बाहर करो, जो नई कंपनी आई उसका नया ले लो.
बराबर. Okay, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. It was a great lecture.
Thank you for sparing your precious time. And we thank Dr. Arpal Seli and we thank Dr. Sachin Kale for interacting with us. And we hope to see you next Friday again on another Financial Friday session. Thank you and good night and bye-bye.
Bye-bye.